Hey everybody, welcome back to a new video. So the April Fool's event is basically at its end here. We have this last little juggernaut deathmatch mode here, but essentially the golds are kind of done and there's not really anything left for the April Fool's event. Now, it has been a long April Fool's event. Unfortunately, I didn't really play much because I've been gone visiting family, and so I didn't really play the last full week of the event. But yeah, this event, I've seen the videos, you know, even though I haven't been playing the event, I've seen the jumper videos. We need more YouTubers, or at least more frequent uploads from YouTubers. But yeah, I played that first day. I saw how bad it was. I understand why it was bad. Way too many players, way too many hoppers, and then basically the same event for 3 events in a row with changed maps. That was essentially it. Whereas last year, at least we had one event where there were no overdrives, so that it wasn't just hopper galore. But just yesterday, Revised actually uploaded a forum post that I wanted to go over today, listing the positives of the event mode and the negatives. Now, obviously, there's a lot here to go over. So let's start with the positives. So, longest April Fools with Super Golds yet. It was almost a week and a half of Super Golds. So obviously, that's a big bonus, right? Players who don't spend money on the game or aren't able to spend money on the game, they can use hoppers to catch golds and hopefully get a few days of premium. Now, obviously, this adds to more and more people using hopper because Tanki is kind of forcing you to use hopper, but this is obviously in the negatives we'll talk about later. A good amount of modes and selection of maps. Yeah, there's a new mode. I think they have weekend modes and weekday modes, which is definitely nice. You get a lot more modes in there because now Tanki has like a 4-day event and then a 3-day event, one for the weekends and then one for the weekdays, which is cool. And then lastly, what he called positive with all fun activities in the mode, for example, Super Golds. So yeah, you got Super Golds in this mode, and you of course had the Super Gold skin on the gold, whereas like 2 years ago when they first added the HD Gold, they removed the Super Gold skin, which was a pretty big negative in my opinion. Now let's get to the negatives, and I'm just going to be overall honest. I didn't play the event that much. I don't think I would have, even if it was fun, just because I've been waiting for Tanki Classic. I hope we get something soon, but I don't think I would have played it all that much. I'm just going over the objective truth, or I guess it's more subjective, but what Revised says is negatives, and a lot of people agree just based on the likes on this overall post, which is pretty high for the forum because not too many people really use the forum, to be honest. But let's start with the negatives. Some certain maps, for example Noise, had too many players in it. Amount of players in some maps is a problem for a long time, and it makes maps unplayable most of the time because of chaos. Now, this is probably my biggest complaint. Now, I of course am annoyed by the hoppers, but I would say I was far more annoyed by the amount of players you had to go against. I mean, Noise, it was like 16 players, when I think the max it should have been was like 8. Because you have an 8v8, or sorry, 77 usually on Noise, whereas, you know, you don't have to deal with enemies when you spawn in, so it's more realistic. But in Deathmatch on Noise, why there were more than like 10 people on the map is beyond me. I don't know what Tanki's obsession with fitting so many people into maps is. I think it's honestly just so that they have less maps being created, and they can fit more people into games faster. I don't know if it's to make maps less created or what the point of it is, but yeah, no, this was my biggest complaint when I played the first day or two, and then I didn't really play after that because I was gone. But yeah, this is a big complaint for me. Talking about chaos, people with bad augments or equipment have no chance to fight against people who have fully upgraded combos. This is another big thing. I mean, I've maxed stuff in the game, but I don't have the best of the best augments. I have some good augments, but when you're going against players with the brand new amazing augments, it can sometimes be annoying because the time to kill is so incredibly fast now with the different augments in the game. Having that many players in a map with that many good augments and that high of time to kill, it's just almost unplayable in my opinion. 90% of all Super Golds are taken by hoppers. Simply, it's because of overdrives turned on. I would also want to say that if players decide to play hopper and join, they still may struggle because they don't have lifeguard. This is a big problem in the mode. Yeah, I mean, when you introduce a gold that gives you premium, you're literally inviting players to use hopper. And I'm not gonna crap on you if you used hopper, because at the end of the day, if you don't spend money, you need those golds. The only way to catch those golds is to use hopper. So Tanki definitely encourages it with the way the mode is created. So yeah, it sucks. But for the players who simply enjoy catching golds, not for what's in them, but for the enjoyment of old golds and catching golds, the mode was ruined for a week and a half. And last year we had a mode that had no overdrives. This year we didn't, and I don't know if it was they were testing the new fireworks grenades or what, but it just didn't make sense to me. And then the fourth point Revised makes is that the new fireworks grenades just aren't preventing hoppers from catching golds. They're just not that good for preventing hoppers. I feel like you have to be so darn precise with it, where even if you're on beat 20, 30, 40% of the time, you're only killing hoppers maybe 1 in every 5 golds that drop if you're throwing a grenade every single gold. I feel like they're just so unpredictable. And Revice made a good point on this. Like, if the Salute grenade, since it's not killing people midair, what's the problem with giving it multiple explosions to actually prevent hoppers from being in air for more than a few seconds? Because if you throw your grenade, you have to time it perfectly, or else it's not going to kill a hopper. So I think that perfect timing makes these grenades kind of useless. So I think adding like a 2 to 3 second explosion time in the air would be awesome, and that would actually prevent hoppers from catching golds because you wouldn't have to be nearly as precise. The number 5, nuclear energies are not helping the event. Yeah, all the buyers who have saved up 600 nuclear energies are just using them during the event. And you know what doesn't make sense to me? The buyers who have infinite premium and they have everything in the game, they're the ones using all their nuclear energies to catch the golds. And I don't know if it's just having fun catching those golds because they don't need any of the rewards. So, I mean, I guess it's just fun, but I still don't understand why the players who have everything in the game and they have premium, they're catching golds so much. I would never understand that. Like, I don't care to catch golds with Hopper because I have everything in the game I need. Like, yeah, I could use premium, but do I need premium? No. I have everything in the game. I have no reason to have premium. So that just doesn't make sense for me to use Hopper and catch golds. Whereas I can get it with players who don't spend money and actually need the premium and crystals. And then there was a big teaming problem because groups were enabled. Now, I like having groups enabled in Deathmatch because it makes it a lot easier to team up, which I don't know if Tanki encourages in these event modes. I believe they've said they don't encourage it, so I don't know why they'd have groups on. But yeah, in most games, you would have at least like 4 to 5 people minimum teaming up. And then it would be a lot more if there were more hoppers and a bigger map. And then overdrives, yeah, I don't know why they were on. I mean, you can have them on for maybe a week or so, but why not give us an event mode without overdrives? I don't really see the point in that. It just didn't make any sense why they did last year, but not this year. Revised also mentioned maybe changing the Super Gold. I like the Super Gold how it is. It's just when hoppers are the only ones catching it, it kind of ruins the Super Gold. But his idea was to add a bunch of rewards into one gold so that it's less RNG based, but I don't know how I'd like that. I like the RNG and the luck based into those golds, especially when they drop so often. And then lastly, rank difference. Now there will be some matchmaking changes. I don't even know how this is possible, but legend rank playing with major ranks is a big difference. Yeah, especially in those event modes where Tanki is shoving in as many players into maps, which means they need to change the rank parameters for games where players who have like a 5,000 GS are getting into games with people with 10,000 GS. It doesn't really make sense to me personally. I think what Tanki should do for the matchmaking system is average out your GS in your garage, and that should be like a hidden MMR system. I'm not sure how players would like it, but it would make it overall more fair if they took the average GS of players' garages, and that's how they matched them rather than their rank. And then we'll just read this end feedback thing that Revice said, because I agree. No hate should be put on the developers. They obviously thought this was the right thing to do, and I'm sure a lot of people played with Hopper. I'm not saying the numbers were decreased, but the players who enjoyed catching golds skillfully definitely decreased this event, but players who enjoyed catching golds with Hopper definitely increased. So at the end of this feedback, I would like to say that it would be cool if the last mode of April Fools would be replaced with a new mode. I mean, currently we have the Juggernaut mode, Deathmatch. I don't think it'll be changed. Golds are gone. The event's almost over. I think Tanki might adjust it in the future. Big parts of the community were requesting this change, and I think it would be really cool to do something like this as a Tanki community. In my opinion, April Fools and Tanki is a really big event. It definitely is. It's one of my favorites. I wouldn't say it's my top 3, but it's top 5 for sure. And it deserves more than 3 modes with pretty much just different maps. Yeah, the modes were the exact same with changed maps, essentially. Everyone was using Hopper. We need more options for all people. Last year, one of the modes also changed. Yeah, I think they changed one of the modes mid-event. I think they decreased the amount of players, if I remember correctly. Like, that was one of the biggest complaints I made in the beginning of that event, and they decreased the amount of players in each map. So it would have been cool if they did something this year, but I guess they enjoyed it how it was. It would be sad to wait another year just to enjoy a fun game. I'm in the state of mind where I'm just waiting for Tanki Classic, so I don't care as much what happens with the main game. Obviously, new updates are good for content, and especially YouTube videos, but I'm kind of just waiting for Tanki Classic, not gonna lie. There's still time to change, and I believe there's a possibility to happen, created and inspired by Tanki community. Yeah, it's kind of cool that Revised got the Tanki community together to kind of react to this post and agree with it. And then you also have Jumper's video where he complained about it, and again, he rarely complains, so when Jumper complains about something, you know it's a problem. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this event in general. Don't forget to use credit tech Taspens. I'll see you in a future video. Peace out, everybody.